I have decided to start calling him Backfire Biden because it seems everything he is doing is backfiring. Now, for example, all the effort the woke left has invested in manipulating the minds of young Americans. And when I say young Americans, I'm talking about anyone 34 years old and under. They put a lot of effort in that. Educational institutions or brainwashing institutions, the media, the movies, the cinema, the news reports. Every news venue out there is outside of the conservative, but the ones that are considered mainstream. Nearly all of them outside Fox lean heavily to the left. So they have invested a lot of effort in capturing the soul, the minds, the hearts of young Americans. Then comes this poll. This poll is from, I think it's a Morning Consult poll. And it says that this demographic, 18 to 34-year-old Americans, are voting or supporting Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Backfire Biden. So all of that effort to brainwash young people, that's backfiring. But what's more, ask yourself why. Well, apparently there are some young people out there who can actually think. Some of them are gullible to brainwashing, but some of them aren't. Obviously now majority of them aren't. But what are they thinking about? Probably they're thinking about hordes of people, uninvited guests, climbing over the border wall by the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. That's what they're thinking about. And they know instinctively that's not good for their future. Guys like me, we're living in our future. And we're spending it. It's almost gone. But these guys, the 34-year-olds and under, their future, it's in the future. And Joe Biden is screwing it up. And it's not only that, but have you ever noticed that when Republicans capture the White House, that the woke left stirs up trouble in the urban jungles and there's rioting? But when a Democrat becomes president, then the rioting stops. The woke left says, okay, no more rioting. But we've got something that's maybe not worse than rioting, but it's called urban crime. And it's devastating. Well, maybe it is worse than rioting. They had this, Black Lives Matter movement, and they decided that we should defund the police. Did the Democrats ever stop to think that the Black Lives Matter movement and the defund police movement would not play well with voters? Apparently not. They didn't think about that. As I like to say, if Democrats could think, they wouldn't be Democrats. Now, one more caveat we pull out of this. I think this is important because it seems to play out perpetually. But when I was a kid, back when my future was in the future, back in the late 60s and 70s, that was like the tail end of the hippie movement. Now, I didn't know any hippies because that whole thing was overblown. It was exaggerated. Most kids, teenagers, were not hippies. They were just kids, just teenagers. But still, that mindset persisted, and these kids, not hippies, but they still tended to be gullible. And their minds were, tilted toward the left. What happened to those kids? The kids in my day. Well, they're my age. Late 60s, early 70s. I'm 70. And these kids who were once Democrats leaning to the left, the students for the Democratic Society and all that crap, those kids, by and large, are now Republicans. Why? What changed? Well, they grew up. Their minds matured. They say that your brain matures when you're around 25 years old. And as people pass that threshold, they start to think clearly. And they don't drive as fast. And when you get my age, you drive really slow. All right. Now, as I'm looking at this poll, or a post, I should say, on Twitter, X, It says Trump now leads Biden among 18 to 34-year-olds, and Biden continues to lose support among black and Hispanic voters. And he maintains a narrow edge among independents. Blacks and Hispanics, I thought Democrats could always count on blacks. Hispanics, are you kidding me? Isn't that the whole idea of Biden opening the border? Allowing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, okay, millions of aliens to, uninvited guests to climb over the border wall. Because once they get here, they're going to be Democrats. Not according to this poll. He's opened the border, opened the gates, the floodgates, to future Republicans if this poll is true. Oh my goodness. Maybe the future of these young people isn't as bad as they think it is. Could be that America has a long life ahead of it. I'm certain it's going to outlive me.